JavaScript is a powerful programming language widely used in web development. It enables developers to create interactive and dynamic web pages that run directly in the user's web browser. As a client-side scripting language, JS enhances the user experience by allowing web pages to respond to user actions without needing to refresh the entire page. This feature is useful for modern web applications where seamless interaction is key. JavaScript is a high-level programming language that is easy to read and write, with dynamic typing that allows for flexible and adaptable code. JavaScript is an interpreted language, meaning the code is executed directly by the web browser without the need for any annoying compilation. It's one of the most widely used programming languages, with applications in web development, server-side scripting, and others. Keep in mind, this is not a course on JavaScript. If I taught JavaScript in full, you would fall asleep. We're just glossing over its functionality and basics to understand the context of this course. In JavaScript, variables are used to store and manipulate data. They are the building blocks of any program, allowing you to work with dynamic information. JavaScript has several data types that you will encounter in cybersecurity. Number represents numeric values, both integers and floating point numbers. String represents the textual data, which is enclosed in single or double quotes. Boolean represents a logical value, either true or false. Boolean it just a yes or no statement. Object represents a collection of key value pairs used to store more complex data structures. Array represents an ordered list of values which can be accessed by their index. Similar to what we discussed in the YAML section of this course. When you declare a variable in JS, you can use the var, let, or const keywords, followed by the variable name. So each of these keywords has its own scope and rules, but the point is that they allow you to manage and organize the data your program will work with. JavaScript provides various operators that are essential for performing operations on variables and values. Arithmetic operators include addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, which are fundamental for basic mathematical operations. Comparison operators allow you to evaluate relationships between values, such as checking if two values are equal, not equal, greater than, or less than each other. Logical operators like and, or, and not help in combining or negating conditions to make decisions in your code. Assignment operators are used to assign values to variables, enabling you to update and manage data effectively within your scripts. Control flow in JavaScript refers to the order in which individual statements, instructions, or function calls of a program are executed or evaluated. If-else statements, these are the fundamental control structures used to perform different actions based on different conditions. If the condition is true, the block of code inside the if statement is executed. If it's false, the code inside the else block is executed. Loops allow us to execute a block of code repeatedly based on a condition. The most common types of loops are the for loop and the while loop. In a for loop, the code inside the loop is executed as long as the specified condition is true. The loop typically includes an initialization, a condition, and an iteration statement. Take a look at this example below. Here, the loop runs as long as I is less than 5, incrementing I with each iteration. In a while loop, the code inside the loop is executed as long as the condition is true. It's useful when the number of iterations is not known beforehand. This is just review for those who may not be super familiar with JavaScript. Sorry if you know this already. Let's review functions really quick. In JavaScript, functions are one of the most fundamental building blocks. A function is essentially a set of statements that perform a task or calculate a value. Functions allow us to encapsulate a block of code that can be called whenever needed, avoiding repetition and making the code more modular and easier to manage. Functions are defined using the function keyword followed by a name and a set of parentheses. The parentheses may include parameters, and these are variables that can be passed into the function. Take a look at this example. This function, when called with the argument John, will output hello John to the console. Functions can accept parameters, which allow us to pass data into them. They can also return values, allowing them to output data back to the part of the code where they were called. By using functions, you can create reusable blocks of code, making your script development more efficient and your scripts easier to maintain. Then we have DOM manipulation. The document object model, or DOM, represents the structure of an HTML document. And not to get confused with BDSM, it serves as the interface through which JavaScript can dynamically interact with and manipulate web page elements. In the context of phishing attacks, and particularly phishless development, understanding how to manipulate the DOM is crucial for altering the content and behavior of a proxied website to suit the phishing scenario. Let's review some common DOM methods and properties you'll use with Evil Jinx. Starting with getTheElement by ID retrieves an element by its ID, which is a unique identifier for elements in the DOM. This method is commonly used to directly target specific elements for manipulation. QuerySelector retrieves the first element that matches a given CS selector. This is useful when you need to target elements based on their class, tag, or other attributes. QuerySelector retrieves all elements that match a given CS selector, allowing you to work with multiple elements simultaneously. Inner HTML gets or sets the HTML content of an element. This is particularly useful for injecting or replacing content within an element dynamically. Style accesses the inline styles of an element, allowing you to modify its appearance directly via JavaScript. These methods form the foundation for manipulating web pages during an attack, enabling you to hide, reveal, or change content in real time, depending on the particular scenario context. Event handling in JavaScript is essential for responding to user interactions with a web page. In the context of this course, understanding event handling is critical for capturing and reacting to specific user actions such as clicks or form submissions that are integral to executing a successful phishing attack. JavaScript allows you to respond to user interactions and events such as clicks, key presses, or form submissions. Using event listeners, you can attach a specific action to an element that will trigger when the event occurs. For instance, you can attach an event listener to a button, like the example seen here. In this example, when the button is clicked, a message saying "button clicked" will be logged to the console. This is a simple code example, but in a real scenario, you might use event listeners to capture login credentials or other sensitive information when the user interacts with the page. In JavaScript, string manipulation enables you to modify and work with the text strings within a document. For fish-led development, this is particularly useful for crafting dynamic content or making precise alterations to a web page's text to enhance the phishing scenario. JavaScript provides various methods for working with strings. These methods are essential for customizing the behavior and appearance of a page during an attack, ensuring that the phishing content aligns with the intended action. Regular expressions are used in JavaScript for searching, replacing, and validating text patterns. It allows you to efficiently manipulate strings and match patterns, which is crucial for tasks like extracting or altering specific data within a web page. Regular expressions are patterns used to match and manipulate strings. You'll see this in many aspects of programming, not just in Java. They are commonly used for searching, replacing, and validating text, meaning that you can instruct it to capture particular data strings. For example, you might use it to identify and replace specific patterns within a web page's content, cookie names, or pattern strings. Regular expressions are created using the pattern syntax or the regular expression object. Here's a simple example to illustrate its usage. In this example, the regular expression tests whether the word fox is present in the text. If it is, the result is true. Regular expressions make for an essential tool for targeting specific content in a web page, especially when dealing with complex strings or dynamic content that changes during each request.